Welcome back to another episode of Purely Awesome Dads. This is episode 3, and following up on our last episode 2, where Justin talked about his smoothie. I'm Jeff, and I'm going to talk about my smoothie today and health benefits. We're really excited to share some of our tips and tricks, and I think we'll just get right into it here. So I know, Justin, you've got my list of ingredients. I say my smoothies I've been making for probably about 3 years now, pretty regularly. Before that, kind of sporadically, but kind of refining it over the last few years. So I start off with my base. I know a lot of people do, maybe milk or, soy milk, and I just do straight RO, filtered water. So it's very, very pure water.
And real quick, that's reverse osmosis, what RO stands for, just so everyone knows.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. And it's just a fancy way of saying filtered water. I mean, they make it sound like it's something incredible, right? So I go with like a veggie based and Orgain, like Justin, I know you really like as well. I tend to go with either vanilla or chocolate there, depending on what I want to what I'm feeling like. I also add in egg white protein powder, and this is just Amazon subscribe and save, and it's just one serving, right, of that in there. And that just gives me a little extra protein, and I'm a huge fan of eggs. And then collagen is something I've recently started adding. So the collagen part of it, I think it from what I read and research, it kind of helps with some of the recovery. And then veggies, typically stick with like spinach and kale and carrots. So I throw just a handful of organic baby carrots in there too. And then the frozen organic berries. So we talked in episode 2 about Justin's, the little packs of frozen berries. I just buy the big bag of the frozen berries. I think it's like blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries. I think maybe there's some strawberries in there as well. Yeah. Peanut butter too, the organic peanut butter. I'm just a huge fan of peanut butter and nut butters in general. And it gives it, maybe a little more smoothness, but also a lot more protein and good fats. Ground flaxseed, that's just a little tablespoon, maybe a couple tablespoons of that. And that's good for omega-3 fatty acids. There's a little protein in there as well. Chia seeds, that's more for energy. And then creatine and glutamine. This is just like pure creatine and pure glutamine. And I do, some weightlifting, but I'm not like a total gym rat or, beefcake, obviously. I'm more into the endurance sports, but I found that helps muscle recovery. And so I've added that probably in the last year or so. And that's just a little bit, just one serving of that. And then cocoa powder. So if I'm doing a chocolate one, I'll do some pure organic cocoa powder just to give it a little more chocolate flavor. And then it's got, high antioxidants, and then just good taste in general. And then one thing here too, this is something I found at Costco. I didn't know anything about it before I saw it on the shelf, but it's called moringa powder. I don't know if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, but it's advertised as, high antioxidants. It's a green powder. They say it's, similar to kale, but much higher concentrated. So maybe a scoop of that. It doesn't taste the best, but with all the chocolate and everything else in there, it kind of covers up the flavor. And then hemp hearts. So it sounds kind of weird, but the hemp hearts are actually kind of like a small nut, and they have nutty flavor. They're high in protein, so good fiber. So I'd say these are all kind of the staples of my smoothies. And then one thing I should introduce at the beginning is that I tend to make my smoothies, in the Vitamix on like a Sunday afternoon. And I've got multiple of these like smaller blender bottles. They're maybe like 16 ounce. So I've got a few of those, and I just fill those up, throw them in the fridge. And they're usually good for about 3 to 4 days. At least it makes it easier during the week to just grab that in the morning on the go, after your workout, whatever. So with that, Justin, I'm sure you've got tons of questions for me.
Absolutely. Well, first off, I think it's really cool that ours are different because it just shows that everyone has a different taste and a different, there's no right way to do nutrition, right? So that I think it's really awesome. One thing that really caught my eye on here, there were 2 things that off the bat caught my eye. So we'll talk about the egg white protein and the moringa powder. And the reason I found out about it was I was working with a bunch of people from Chennai, India, and they were over here and they were doing all these weird things and went to this market and brought this really funky looking thing back. And I was like, what is that? And it was, they don't call it moringa. I can't remember what they call it, but it's some kind of melon on their side. It's some kind of, I want to call it like stink melon or something. It's something along those lines. I almost vomited when I ate it. It was like the most vile thing I've ever eaten. But I've had the powder, and just for you guys out there, warning, don't ever just drink the powder. Okay. It will suck your face in and you won't ever get it back. But in the smoothie, that's what I want to ask you about. It's very interesting because moringa is such a unique flavor to it. How long have you been adding it, and what does it do? Can you taste it in your smoothie?
Maybe kind of a grassy kind of smell and flavor. But once you put it in the smoothie with all the berries and the chocolate, right, the flavor from your protein powder, it covers it right up. So you don't actually, I just say go easy on it. Is all I'd recommend.
Awesome. Okay. Now let's talk about egg white protein for a second here. So why did you choose that?
I honestly can't think of the brand name off the top of my head. I know it's not like a major brand name. It's a very specific one. And I think it's around $30 to $40 for one bag. But that bag lasts me probably 2 to 3 months. I just like to get, a little extra protein as much as I can. I know your body can only digest, so much, per serving or, per hour. But my smoothie, sometimes, 16-ounce smoothie, I'll maybe drink half of it, in the morning, and then the other half of it maybe around lunchtime or a little later in the day too. So kind of spread that out.
And then, so the two things that I really like on here are the creatine and glutamine. So do you use creatine all the time in your smoothie?
Pretty much, yeah. And that's mostly for the recovery, just, for helping with all the workouts. Recovery, like we talked about in the first episode, it is so important. It's just as important to me, even more important than the actual workouts themselves. And that's what I've learned over many years, because I used to just kill myself, right, on these long runs, long bike rides. I've really learned that recovery is so critical. So I always thought of creatine, back 20 years ago, college or whatever, it's just for beefcakes, right? It's
Exactly.
just for guys that are bodybuilders, right? They're working all the time in the gym and tons of creatine. I think a lot of the research, since then has shown that, in smaller amounts, it's definitely helpful.
Awesome, dude. So, I mean, your ingredients here sound really fun, because I've played with just about everything on here before in my smoothie. Glutamine, I've never actually used before. Is it like a powder too? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a powder too. And actually I've got that through my subscribe and save as well. So it's the glutamine and the creatine that come from the same company. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but it's a tiny scoop as well. And the glutamine is also supposed to help speed up, muscle recovery. I think your body, produces it, but this is just giving you a little more.
Awesome. Okay. Now, one thing you had mentioned earlier was about when you make them, if you make a 16-ouncer, you may drink some in the morning and some in the afternoon. Mm-hmm. Is this a replacement for you for a breakfast kind of thing, or is this like a snack kind of item? How do you use your smoothie?
Yeah, so it's kind of both. So it's in the morning, I actually tend to, I go out, I do my runs, try to get, a little workout, at least some body weight, work in. I don't eat anything, before I go. I may just drink a little bit of water. Usually I'm kind of fasting in the morning, but if I'm really hungry that day, maybe I've had a hard workout the night before or that morning, then, maybe I'll drink half of that smoothie, because it's 16 ounces of this kind of smoothie. It's pretty thick. And then, put it away for a couple hours, then maybe come back to it, a little bit later that morning. So
that's awesome, dude. I mean, I think one thing that people can take away from us doing this today is that we have no fillers in our smoothies, right? So there's no added sugars, there's nothing else, and they tend to taste good. And I'm so excited to make yours, because it's going to be so much fun. One, it's always fun to try something new, and two, I love everything in there, and I'm really excited to do it. And I guarantee you, because we're both going to have our wives try both of our smoothies.
That's right.
And Jeff, I want to thank you so much. It was another great episode, so much fun. And I think the information you gave is fantastic. And so, we have no shortage of topics here. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. We're going to keep going with this. And I hope you guys are having as much fun with this as we are. So Jeff, and to our audience, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Justin. Thank you, everyone.